So I think a lot of business owners struggle with their advertising because they miss a couple of really important key principles with that. And really, I talk about it a lot on this channel, talk about how you really need to be building a warm audience and that you need to warm people up to your offer. You can't expect them to buy right away. I talk about the Google's study that they did, the 7-11-4 study. 7 hours of content consumed, 11 different touch points, and 4 different platforms before people, generally speaking, make a buying decision. But even more important than that, I wanted to tell you a little war story because I come from the film and TV world. That's what I got my degree in. That's what I started working in back in 2012. And I worked in that industry for about, I would say, until about 2018 was around the time that I started to move out of it. And throughout that time, I was able to maneuver myself to working with one of the vendors. It was a visual effects company. We did visual effects on one of the projects that I was working on. It was a natural fit. I was able to move over to that. And then we were working within a production environment. But instead of being part of that visual effects story, we were actually a code based, we were like a bunch of nerds sitting in the corner building tools for the company. And what's really, I think, interesting about that is we were a miniature business within an actual larger business. And with that, there was a lot of different challenges, mainly getting new clients in the door. It was very, very difficult to get new clients for the products that we created. So, just a side note, not only did we code internal tools for the company, which could be rendering software, could have been desktop tools or whatever, plugins and stuff like that. But the other side of our business was we actually created real estate software that was used for demonstrating different properties. So we could actually like create a little presentation that was really successful. Actually, it was a really good tool. It was a really good piece of software, but we couldn't get it in front of enough people, and that was always a big sticking point when I came on the job. One of the big things was trying to get more clients in the door. And at the time, I had really no marketing experience. The job title was not a marketing job whatsoever. I was just supposed to be the producer. I was there to manage the tools work that we had to do and manage the ongoing jobs that we already had in the door. My job really wasn't trying to acquire new customers, but I found myself trying to do that more and more over time, and that was a very difficult task to do because you build up a cold list of people that you want to reach out to. You reach out to them, most of them are not going to reach back out to you. 9 times out of 10 you don't hear back. We also went back through our roles of previous clients and would reach out to them and see if there was new work involved, anything that we can do for them. And while that did definitely work and it kept us afloat for a while, we still always struggled to get new people in the door. And the only way that we would get people is through word of mouth. And unfortunately, COVID hit in 2020. They laid us all off right away. We were one of the first to go. I think it was that summer that they let us go. And we had actually spun our little teeny tiny group into a new company at that time because we were all jobless. And the CEO and co founder of that company decided to hire us to do this work full time. But the big problem with this business was it still didn't have a method of getting new people in the door. And, we tried pretty much every tactic in the book. We tried to meet with people, network with people, all the good stuff. But especially during COVID, it was really difficult to do those in person events. It was difficult to travel, obviously. And it all moved into a digital space. That's the rise of Zoom. That's the rise of all these digital tools that we all use today. And I just wanted to share that with you guys because that business went out of business. And the reason that it went out of business is because we could not get new people in the door. And it was during this time that marketing really became something very important to me because I was just trying to get this business to survive. I was trying to help my boss as much as I could. And it just felt like anything that I put out there, it was pretty much ignored. It wasn't really followed through with. And I understand it was all unproven at the time. It was all a new concept to both of us. Um, and it's not really to blame anybody. The idea here is really just to show that, I've been in businesses that fail, and the reason that they fail is literally because they don't have enough people coming in the door, and they're not doing enough to really warm people up and keep them there. And, I think a lot of times people try to share these stories of like, unlimited income through digital products and stuff like that. And yes, to some degree that does work. It's very difficult to do, it's not easy to do, and the goal of your business isn't necessarily to hang on to people forever. That's certainly not the goal of my business. So it depends on what kind of business you're running, but the principles are all the same. And I think that's really what I'm trying to get to here, is that the principles of advertising are the same. If you can do a good job, if you can be helpful, if you can put it out there that you're doing good work, and you can show the result, and you could show what it's like to work with you, and you could show your thought process, all that good stuff is what leads people to wanting to work with you. And that is really what kept that business alive for so many years, was literally that. Just working with people and doing a good job and letting the results prove it, because then word of mouth spreads and you get more work from it. The problem with that is that we ran into a limitation, and that really was a volume problem. We could not get enough people in the door because our product was so niche, and for what we were charging, it just simply wasn't enough to justify the work. And if we had just sat down and mapped this stuff out, which is something that I do now, if you map this stuff out, you can back yourself into what it is that you're willing to do, what it is that you're willing to spend on a marketing budget, and how you can actually build this out in a way that makes sense for your business. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I think it's important to understand that, my background is not from marketing, generally speaking. I've only been in it since 2020. I've been selling online since the early 2000s, just like eBay and stuff like that. And over the years, I've opened Etsy shops and built websites and stuff. But my main focus now is getting those people in the door and really showing business owners how they could do it for themselves. Because if you can learn how to do this, it really is a superpower. It really is something that you can use to advertise pretty much anything that you want moving forward. And again, it all goes back to the principles of marketing, and that is showing what it is that you do, and then trying to, prove that and show the results, and just be in front of people and just be there. Do good work, and the results will start to come to you. You'll start getting those leads in the door. But it's not a quick process necessarily. It takes time, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of dedication, and you really just need to put that work in. And the problem with, I think, a lot of business owners these days is they expect an instant result. They want that instant gratification. But if you don't want to build a business that consistently needs you to push on it every day, where you're always grinding and trying to just get in front of as many people as you can and always pushing and pushing and pushing, you're not going to have time for your actual life. You're not going to have time to raise your kid. You're not going to have time to take them to pizza and do the fun things that I was lucky enough to have growing up with my parents. And I think, it's really an important thing. And if you can understand that you can actually build a business where gravity is generated through the content that you create, then you'll start to see that people are naturally attracted to you, and they'll start moving forward with you. And it's a really big difference between somebody that's trying to push in their business and somebody that's trying to pull people in to their business, because suddenly you get that free time. You get to enjoy the smaller things in life. And that's because you're not grinding 24 hours a day. And if you're really good about your time and you're smart about what you're doing, you're able to be a lot more effective with that time and effort. So, anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys, and have a great day.